it in the dailies. Some people feel the president is not doing so well. But even according to the former deputy president who spoke in vernacular earlier this week, he talked about even the kind of support that he now holds even among elected leaders. Some of them appear to be shifting back to Kenya Kwanza. Is it true that Mount Kenya is not solid on one or either side currently?
Thank you, Fred. And I don't think it's true that Mount Kenya is changing or softening towards William Ruto. And if I start by the comment on the Standard, that the number of governors attending the president's functions in Mount Kenya. In fact, I can tell you that had it not been for the very vulnerable position that a governor holds, and by vulnerability I mean that a governor can be impeached anytime, and so sometimes they attend the president's functions, not because they support him, but because of course they fear that some files would be pulled from some place, and maybe MCAs made to maybe impeach governors, and that is why it's very hard for a governor, even when they do not support the president, to miss his functions, because of course President Ruto is a very vigilant leader, and you do not want as a governor to taste his vengeance, because that is what he is, and you need to survive as a governor. That's why governors appear even when they do not support the president. There's this claim, and when we were off air, my good friend Ruto was telling me he's very buoyed by I think the story on the Standard, on the Nation, that Mount Kenya is changing and is warming up to President Ruto. One of the things that, of course, those that want to make that argument are using are the numbers that are appearing when the president appears in Mount Kenya. But those numbers are actually bought, paid appearances. And even Rigathi Gachagua himself has told people, and he's on record, that when these goodies are brought by William Ruto, of course, they should go, because times are very hard, especially in our region. And so we have advised our people that every time the president comes, because of course when he comes, he pays handsomely to every attendee. So we have advised them to go and, of course, collect that which is there to be collected. And that is why they are there. And of course, we have told them that, when you want to collect some money from somebody, then you do not frown towards them. You smile. If you are required to say 2 terms for the pay to come, then you have told them, just go do that, say that, but of course, you know where your hearts are. So I want to tell you, Fred, that Mount Kenya, if there's anything the people of Mount Kenya can never do, it is to accept to be lied to again by somebody who has lied to them. And why you see this violence, of course, Ruto will want to say that we are planning violence against ourselves, which is a very weak and miserable argument. This violence that you see, meted against us, Rigathi Gachagua, and those of us who support him every time we want to go somewhere, especially in Mount Kenya, it's because they do not want, Ruto and his government does not want us to tell people the truth, does not want us to remind the people, hey, you are told that Mama Mbogas would rise from that situation, own kiosks, ultimately own shops, and then wholesale shops, that boda riders were going to buy taxis, a taxi guy was going to buy a matatu, because that is what President Ruto came and told our people, and ultimately buy a bus. So they do not want us to tell the people, to ask the people, how many boda riders have bought matatus? In fact, most of them, their borders have been repossessed. They do not want us to remind people that the promises that were made in 2022, none of them has been kept. And so when he comes here and starts to tell you about now Singapore, you just treat that person as somebody who treats, lying as a hobby. So, just That is what they do not want us to tell our people. And that's why we must be prevented from addressing our people. And I want to challenge those that support the president, and they are here. If you have a superior idea, you present it on the table. If you think, as Ruto claims every day, that some of us have no brains, I don't know why then God did not decide to create President Ruto with one big head to think for every other Kenyan, and the others of us to... I mean, if we do not have heads, we do not have brains, why don't you give us space to show, to display our ignorance? Why are you sending goons protected by the police?
Bwana Ruto, and I want us to approach, because I want to focus